Good evening, everyone. Join me in welcoming our youth panel for tonight, please.
The world has changed a lot, and as a result, mental health has become a more relevant topic that I think we need to talk about, especially in the context of students and people our age, because we're often going through we're experiencing things that people have never experienced before, which is why I believe this is an important conversation to have.
A lot of mental health issues with kids nowadays do circle back to social media or the internet, because it's just so prevalent in our lives, and it completely can change your chemistry growing up if you are around it during your developing years.
I tend to, I guess, belittle my emotions and what I'm experiencing through diagnosing or trying to diagnose myself through social media. And then when I don't, then I sort of be like, stop, it's not that big of a deal, but it doesn't take away the struggle or the feelings at all.
And teenagers may present themselves in unusual ways.
While mental health is becoming more talked about, so are the myths and stereotypes and misconceptions and romanticization of disorders. And I think it's important to, talk about what it's really like and how to really help.
Sometimes when you have too much awareness and the volume or the flow rate is too high, you can't process it quite as well as you might otherwise. So I do, I'll always be a proponent of telling the truth and telling the facts as we understand them from a research standpoint, but not venturing into those areas yet, particularly when you're dealing with developing minds and personalities that are very vulnerable to the pressures of their peer group.
My parents, I love them to death, but they aren't always the most understanding, and usually kind of influence me in belittling my own mental health, which is like, I get like some of it is teenager issues, but it's like I've been through a lot of experiences that go beyond that. I don't know, sharing that information with my parents still don't understand it, and they've told me it's because they don't want to see me like that, and it's like I understand that, but it's like there is a break between communication here.
When you're engaging in active listening, you're listening for content, you're listening and watching for emotive factors, and not feeling compelled to have an answer necessarily for the issues that are being presented to you in the context of the person's feelings. And it's the very fact that you're listening carefully and asking questions that are open-ended and not kind of leading the individual. That sort of thing becomes very helpful for people who are trying to express complex and sometimes very painful emotions.
I think something that's just very, very important is if a child or your child or a teenager or anyone says that they are struggling with mental health issues or they want to die or they want to hurt themselves, it should always be taken seriously, even if it ends up not being an actual crisis.
Guess I can only hope that they would be more understanding towards people in general. And I do think that we could use a whole lot more empathy and kindness.